afternoon, good evening, wherever you are across the world. It's a pleasure to have all of us in this webinar. This is an interesting session, and I believe we'll be learning your experiences across the world. So permit me to introduce our president, who is seated here. Thank you very much, sir, for the privilege and the opportunity to have you in this webinar.
Thank you.
We have panelists across the world from the US, Japan, China, and of course, others here from Nigeria. So I will go straight on to introduce them, and then we can go on from there. I have, please, you will permit me because some names are, I may not be able to pronounce them the way they should be. But I will try since I'm an African. I have Nyenime. She holds a first degree in education, technology, and master's in elementary education, both from Nigeria. She is an educator by training, but presently based in the United States of America and work as a rehabilitation counselor. She's married with a beautiful daughter. I also have somebody who is co-moderating with me here. So you're hearing voices. Okay. And she's a member of TPADI and also in the Commission of General Education and Pan-African Literacy since 2023. Again, we also have Silas Emmanuel. He's a dynamic thought leader, a visionary builder, a passionate advocate for united, I suppose, Africa, who believe Africa should be empowered, prosperous. He is presently based in Japan and brings a unique global perspective to Pan-African issues, drawing from his lived experience across cultures and his work at intersection of technology, education, and social impact. As a founder of the Success Class, a motivational platform with over 2,000 followers, Silas continues to mentor, inspire, and mobilize African youths to embrace purpose, moral clarity, community responsibility. Through his speaking, structure that uplifts generation. His core belief is that Africa's future lies in people who are equipped with the right mindset, tools, and values. Welcome, Silas. And with me also is Josephine Ifyong. She is a brand strategist and currently pursuing her MBA at Ningbo University in China. She holds a bachelor's degree in estate management and has 5 years experience in client relationship management within the real estate sector. Beyond her corporate expertise, Josephine is also a passionate fashion enthusiast and style strategist. Drawing from her unique journey as an African living and studying abroad, she offers compelling personal narrative that explores racial realities and the challenges of maintaining African identity within foreign educational environments. As a member of TPADI's Commission on African Youth Capacity since 2023, she will be bringing her cross-cultural experiences and reflection on the intersection of race, identity, and belonging in international educational setting. Josephine, welcome to this session of the webinar.
Thank you.
And then we have Dr. Utengi, if I'm right, Ubong. She's an educator, a researcher, an advocate for Africa-centered pedagogy with PhD in educational management and over 9 years of teaching and school management experience. She taught at those diverse cultural setting and is currently based in Japan. She challenges racial stereotypes, promotes racial dignity, and inspires learners to embrace and accept their identity. Dr. Josephine is a member of the Pan-African Dialogue Institute and and of course, the General Education and African Literacy Commission since 2024. And she works to bridge culture while empowering students um, to think African in globalized world. Thank you, Dr. Utengi. Most welcome. All right, so we will start off. I will start with a story, and then
Dr.
I will...
Manuel. Dr.
Yes.
Manuel, sorry, I sent you a chat on your WhatsApp chat.
Okay.
Yeah. So while you look at that, let's have time to introduce the institutes to especially our interests of the new persons. There's a short video here which I'm going to play to introduce the institutes. The moderator, if you don't mind.
Yes, please, let's have the video.
Okay.
Introducing TPADI, the Pan-African Dialogue Institute. The Pan-African Dialogue Institute, TPADI, is an international think tank of African academics, professionals, students, civil society, and grassroots leaders in different fields of life within Africa and the diaspora, coming together for the study, practice, and propagation of Pan-Africanism, domiciled in the University of Uyo, Nigeria, or with members from half the countries in Africa. TPADI intervenes in three specific areas of education in Pan-Africanism: policy engagement, that is, analysis and advocacy, and project development and implementation for the public good. A dialogue approach to Pan-Africanism is apolitical, non-confrontational, non-revolutionary, and non-violent. Rather, our approach is broad-based, inclusive, and knowledge-driven. The dialogue model encourages a more participatory form of Pan-Africanism that welcomes contributions from all stakeholders, including intellectuals, civil society professionals, grassroots organizations, students, and everyday Africans. This inclusivity is essential for cultivating a Pan-African identity that resonates with a broader segment of African society and strengthens the bond of solidarity across the continent. As dialogue fosters exchange, learning, and relationship, it is practiced within the context of community and relationships. Therefore, being a community building, conflict resolution, and peace building tool, a dialogue-based approach to Pan-Africanism shifts the focus from what divides people to what connects them. By Pan-Africanism, the Institute emphasizes the principles of unity, self-determination, dignity, social justice, and cultural pride. Pan-Africanism represents the belief that all people from across the African continent are connected by a common heritage and destiny. It is about standing together as one people, united in the struggles for liberty, justice, and equality to reclaim our human dignity and cultural alienation. But this movement is not just about political ideals. It is also about art and culture, business, music, dance, healing rituals, nature, and everything. This is why we are a multi-sectoral dialogue community working with the African Union Vision and the 2063 Roadmap towards the actualization of a vibrant, peaceful, and prosperous Africa. In our engagements, care is taken to ensure that every knowledge generated through regular exchange and learning activities are aimed at building the African community, strengthening the bond of unity, and prioritizing people over things. Members of the Institute value relationship with one another in the best interest and expression of Pan-African solidarity. We manifest our vision through the vessel of 10 fully functioning work groups, which we call commissions. These are general education and Pan-African literacy, African politics, governance, and international relations, law and human rights in Africa, African peace and reconciliation, African women and gender, African youth capacity, religion and philosophy in Africa, African society, business, art and culture, communication, media and ICT, and sustainable development, science, technology, and innovation. African scholars, students, civil society leaders, and professionals in all fields of life, as well as development experts and organizations in Africa and in the diaspora, are welcome to join our community. Check out our membership registration portal on our website, www.africadialogue.org/membership. You are welcome.
All right, so that's an introductory video on the Pan-African Dialogue Institute. Permit me at this point to invite our president, Associate Professor Ifyom. Please, sir, let's have you have your opening remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel. And dear friends and colleagues around the world, I'm really glad to welcome you to our international dialogue session today. I welcome the distinguished leaders of this institute. A number of them who have joined us already. You're welcome. I can see a number of you, and those who are joining later, you're welcome. Let me especially also welcome those who are joining us for the first time, and request that you kindly introduce yourself using the chat box. Indicate your name, please, your phone number, and of course, your email address. But above that, please consider joining the Institute as a full member, especially as you are an African. And a number of times I remark that there are many people who were born in Africa, but they are not Africans. I'd like to challenge you to join us in order to identify whether you are truly an African. So you are welcome. Let me also very specially welcome distinguished, panelists today. These are members who are based in China, based in Japan, and of course in the United States of America. You are welcome. You have already been introduced, and we are glad, so elated to have you join us today to share your experiences. And we are really, really privileged, to be in this webinar today in order to learn from you how you are remaining African abroad. It's going to be very exciting moment, to learn together and to share experiences. For the interest of those who are joining us for the first time, TPADI, that is for short, an acronym for the Pan-African Dialogue Institute, is an international institute of African academics, civil society professionals, and grassroots leaders with members across the world, including students, African students, either within the continent of Africa and in the diaspora. And these are people who are dedicated to the pursuit of the ideals of Pan-Africanism. So kindly visit our website for details of our goals, of our memberships, and of course, our activities. With regards to international dialogue sessions, which we host from time to time, it is our tradition to converge virtually from time to time. Initially, when we started off, we called it the community dialogue session, which was meant to serve the needs of members of the Institute only. But later on, and up till now, it has become a continent-wide and indeed an international event designed to bring members and the general public together for corporate learning and awareness and topical issues that concern Africa, topical issues that concern Africans, both on the continent and in the diaspora. Our dialogue sessions present opportunities for the institutes to take a critical look at any matter that is brought for our consideration, either brought by various commissions with a view to taking a policy position that we believe would be in the interests of our continent. And so today's session, International Dialogue Session, is not going to be different, arising from the conversation that we're going to have. It will be crystallized, to form a policy position, and it will be published in our policy journal. And so we want to learn from you how you are remaining Africans abroad or wherever you are, wherever you stay. It's going to be quite exciting for us to learn from you. I'd like to commend the leaders and members of the Commission on African Politics and International Relations, and particularly that of today is organized by the Commission on General Education and Pan-African Literacy. This is a commission where teachers and lecturers, educators and students, can come to think about educational policies, educational systems, whether the one we inherited from our colonial masters are actually serving our needs today or not, and so on and so forth. And this is important because this is an institute that is dedicated to education for the decolonization of the mind. And so it is important to, I'm very, very pleased to welcome you again, and then to have this session, very important session today. And I hope that at the end of the day, we all will have some great lessons to live by. Thank you very much, the moderator. Thank you very much, the panelists. Thank you very much, our dear friends who have joined us around the world. You are welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, President, for that welcoming remarks. We really appreciate. Let me recognize Yasali. Are you in?
Yes, Yasali can find out, maybe later. Yeah.
Later, yeah. Okay, so we have introduced our panelists earlier. Let me once again thank you for being here and expecting a lot from you. I will be calling you to maybe give 10 minutes, share your thoughts, and then we can go from there. But before then, let me share a story, 2 instances in China. I flew from Shanghai to a city in Fujian province called the Xiamen, I think so. And at the departure, as I was trying to leave, And then this Chinese young boy saw me and started screaming. He was frightened. Probably he's not seen a black person. It was really embarrassing for me. And then I just pretended and just walked away. Another instance, I was in Guangzhou, walking on the street, and then this, again, a young boy saw me and was excited and was saying, wow, he was happy. The same China, two different experiences. One is looking embarrassing, the other one is looking welcoming. So as diaspora, we have a lot of experiences, you know, and we'll be sharing that. I know in some countries, you might even slip into depression because of the stereotype and so on. In some other cultures, you feel like welcome and so on. So never hold onto your thoughts and your experience. We want to know that. That will help us as Pan-Africanists to reposition our policy direction. So permit me to first welcome Dr. Utenge to present. Let's hear your thoughts in a couple of minutes. Please, can you go on and speak? And then after that, we will have Josephine. Dr. Utenge, please go on.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have all of you here. I am a teacher in Japan and I teach English language. My journey into Japan arose as a curiosity to see how education works in another society and to also test myself beyond my familiar country, which I have which I had lived for many years. So, the first experience I got was the first day I was introduced in class as an English language teacher. I could see the surprise in the students' faces and even the homeroom teachers, and they were like, wow. And then I could read their unspoken questions in their minds. Would this Black lady be able to teach English language? I think maybe an English language teacher should be a white, not a black skin. So after that, I did my self-introduction and the students were surprised. They were just staring at me. They looked at me and then my hair, they looked at my hair because mostly I wear my African hair. This is my natural hair. And I see them try to raise strands of their hair if the hair could stand. But no, it falls back because their genes doesn't allow their hair to stand straight. Their hair must obey the law of gravity, but mine does not. So it stands straight and defies that law. And after that, after the first day, I settled into the school community and I started. I noticed that the Japanese teachers would come to me and then try to speak to me, but language is really a barrier here. And they tried to ask me, Africa, speak English? I said, yes, we speak English. And the other Japanese teachers who could speak a little bit of English also came to me to ask questions like, does your country speak English language? And I'm like surprised. I said, yes, we speak English. And he goes this way. Do you speak another language except English? I said, yes, we have other languages in Nigeria. So his surprise is that, oh, so a Black person could speak English so fluently and could be accomplished and then also is able to transfer the knowledge to another person. And here in Japan, the racial realities abound. First, we have a system here that favors the white, in quotes, the white native speakers. There are English teachers who are fluent, they have the qualification, they have the experience, they have the knowledge, but they are not held in high esteem like the white native speaker. So, and this also affects the contract, it affects the salaries. So that's one of the racial realities here, which we face in the workforce or in the labor force. And going back to myself as a teacher here, there are some attitudes that are directed to me by some Japanese. And I'm like, wow, I don't expect this because I expect you to be open to diversity, not just saying only Japanese or just having a close society that is homogeneous. There should be diversity. You should welcome me. You should welcome others too. So even if there's another teacher who is not a Japanese, but has the white color, has a white colored skin, that teacher is respected more than you who is a black skin. So all these happen. And I want to share a story. It happened between me and a student and some students. That was where my my identity was challenged. I went into a class and it was just 10 minutes before the real class would start. Because in between the periods, you have 10 minutes break for the students to just maybe use the restroom, stretch their legs before the next period. So I walked in during that period so as to wait for the period to begin. And this is me. I sit in front of the class on the teacher's desk, waiting for the bell to go. And three boys are at the door, laughing and looking in my direction. And I had my hair held up one as one. And they were laughing, and I was wondering to myself, why are they laughing? Why are they cheering? And one of them walked to me. When he walked up to me, he asked, do you like broccoli? He tried using the English language. And I was so impressed that he was trying to practice his English skills. And out of naivety, I said yes. And I was so excited to engage him in a conversation. The next question I hear is, are you a broccoli? I was pointing to my hair. That was when I knew, oh, this is more than just learning. So I gave him a disapproving look and he walked away. When he walked away, soon the class began. As the class began, I took the greetings. Good morning, everyone. I noticed that those students responded differently. And they responded, good morning, Miss Broccoli. Ah, this is my identity being challenged. This is me. No. So I remained quiet. I maintained my speed and the lesson began. After the class, I asked the homeroom teacher, please, did you notice what happened during class? He said no. I said, okay, this is what transpired. And because he speaks a little bit of English too, he didn't just know what to say. And I went back to the teacher's room, and I was, in fact, I felt so bad for a student to bully me because of my identity. I would call that bullying. You are black, I am black, and you're white. My hair stands straight, is not relaxed, but yours is relaxed. It falls down. So I said, no, my identity is being challenged here. Then I put up an email and sent it to my instructor manager because maybe communication would be a barrier. I would have gone to the principal to tell what happened. And I put up an email that this is a case of discrimination and disrespect to my person. And it was reported to the BOE, the Board of Education. It was that serious. And the Board of Education called the school. And the principal, with his vice and others, came to me to apologize. And that student was brought himself to apologize to me. So this is one of the racial realities that, that exist here in Japan. And I believe it also exists in other countries. But there are also some positives. The positives are that the students get to learn. My presence in the classroom is also a form of teaching, teaching beyond textbooks. They get to ask me a lot of questions. Why is your color like this? Why are you black? And I say, oh, I was born black. And why are you white? And there is no answer. And sometimes you go into a classroom and then you hear someone from nowhere would just say, monkey. And you can't find the person. You don't know who said monkey, but someone said monkey. And I know that's just them trying to get on my nerves and maybe would want to see me react. But I wouldn't because I have my boundaries. There are boundaries on what to do with the students in class. Then another thing I have noticed that despite these racial realities, the students there are also some students who are so respectful. In fact, generally here, the culture is that of respect. They respect a lot. Even the teachers, the teachers respect the teachers, they respect themselves, the students also respect themselves. But we know that you cannot have a balance. There's always an imbalance somehow. So that is what we are facing here, or I am facing as a person in my own situation. Then at another time, I got on a train and sat beside a Japanese lady. I noticed that immediately I sat down, she stood up and left the seat. So what I did, I know that that was an attitude or a behavior that was directed towards me as a person. So what I did was that I just flung my bag on that seat. I crossed my leg, pulled out my phone, and started fiddling my phone. I noticed that the other passengers on the train who stood by They noticed it and they were looking at me. Normally, I'm not supposed to put my bag on the seat. You should leave the seat vacant. But
Okay.
to me, I say no. Since she doesn't want to sit, I think no other person would want to sit to me. So my bag should be comfortable. So these are the things that we experience here. And another thing,
Question,
maybe
send me my experience. You pẹ̀lú wẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ń bà kára. Ètò yìí náà ṣe walk up to mọ́ tẹ̀ monkey. Ṣé ìdè òwò bá? Over ṣé ń kúbọ̀ mi mọ̀?
Sorry, we have, please, can you mute your mic if you are not permitted to speak? Okay. Please go on, Dr. Teng.
Okay. So here, you're first identified as an African teacher before being identified as an educator. So this sometimes for some persons who do not have that emotional stamina to stay on and move on. I think that persons would have depression, would fall into depression abroad if care is not taken. So I am like the baobab tree of Africa. I stand tall, rooted, and resilient, no matter where I find myself. So my heritage is my identity, it is my pride. My heritage, my identity is not a weakness, but it is that of strength. And an African, I remain unapologetically African and unapologetically human. That is what I stand for. So here, what I do, I go out, I put on my native clothes, my Nigerian attire, and I leave my hair. I like to carry my hair this way. And them admire it. Even when I go to class, some students like, your hair is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And some would just look at you with disdain. And you know from that look that this child is somehow, maybe it's a racist. So just in a nutshell, these stereotypes and biases, both in the system, they occur a lot. And but we are trying to, I am trying as a person to stay strong and not to shrink in it, and we'll never shrink. So
All right.
in a nutshell,
Okay. Okay.
okay, in a nutshell, I would say all these happen, but wherever we are as Africans, we shouldn't maybe try to fit in, because it's a system where you're being tried to be molded into what you are not. And another thing is, we have our own accent, and they try to tell you to speak like an American. Speak an, okay, we use American English. Speak American English. I am not American. No matter how long I stay in America, I can never become an American. I will speak the way I wouldn't use, maybe in the in place of letter, I wouldn't, I would still pronounce my T's in the middle of words. Letter. I won't pronounce letter, because you taught me that the T sound is not the. So I'm still going to pronounce that. So in a world, in a society where there are so many expectations of you, maybe to fit in, or maybe bleach your identity in order to fit in. So that's something I cannot do, but I'll try my best to be original and not to be fake. So that's just it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Hearing this is tough, but this is the reality of an African person every day outside Africa. In fact, even within Africa, there are communities you feel like, is this really Africa? We will take some questions later on, so hold your thoughts. Let me invite Josephine. Let's hear the Chinese experience. So Josephine, please go on.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much. My name is Josephine Joseph, and I am an MBA student studying and living in Ningbo, China. I hold a bachelor's degree in estate management from the prestigious University of Uyo, and I came to China 2+ years ago to undergo my master's in business administration. And before I go ahead, I want to thank the organizers of the webinar for giving me the opportunity to share my experience and also to narrate my perspective about African students or Africans living and studying abroad, especially the president, who happens to be my biological father. So I want to thank him so much. Thank you. I know a number of you didn't know that, but he's my father. And I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. I see the work you do, and I really appreciate you. Thank you. And to the other organizers, thank you. So today I want to share with you my personal journey as an African living and studying in China. It has been a journey that has shaped my understanding of identity, race, and cultural belonging in profound ways, especially when it comes to barriers and stereotypes, just like Dr. Uteng said. I think her experience kind of paints a vivid experience of what I am passing through here, although mine is not as negative as hers. So I'm just going to cut through a little bit because I am also an English teacher, a part-time English teacher in a kindergarten, and I get to experience so much, so much that I never knew I would experience. So from my personal narrative, coming from Africa to China for my higher education was quite exciting, but also very challenging, especially at the initial stage when I first came in. Nothing prepared me for the language barrier, especially language barrier. That was the first culture shock I had when I came here, because I never knew that language had more than two components to it until I came to China, where you have the letters, you have the speaking, and you have to draw the characters. I was quite appalled when I when you have to draw a particular character that represents so many things at once, and it was a little bit confusing to me. So when I first came in, and I thought maybe a lot of the Chinese people, although Chinese or Mandarin as they call it is not sorry, English is not their official language, and Mandarin is their official language. So I thought that at least some people in China, or most of the people who are educated would be able to communicate better in in English language. But when I came, that was the first shocker I had, and it was really, really, really tough for me. That especially because the culture of the Chinese have they integrate their language into academics and even into everything. So we are forced or mandated, not forced, mandated to study Chinese. And before you graduate, you have to have your Chinese proficiency certificate, an equivalent to the English proficiency certificate before you can get your certificate, your degree certificate. So I never knew that was the reality until I came. And then other barriers to talk about the weather, the extreme weathers, talk about the food, because I come from a very, I mean, an in-depth African setting where you eat African food. Where I come from, we cook African food every day. And coming to see people eat so much greasy food, oily food, and maybe just vegetables. I wasn't used to that reality until I came to China and realized that's different. So most of the time, I just call home and ask my mom to send me, and she sends me food because I don't know how I can still. I think that's one of the aspects of staying African abroad, right? So it was quite challenging at first. So it meant leaving behind familiar cultural norms, family and community support, stepping into a society where I was visibly different. In fact, when Dr. Tenga was talking about racial realities and experiences, I kind of related to it because I have experienced some things like that, although not at the not on the harsh or negative extreme. The first thing when you come into another country, especially in Asian country, is they look at your skin color. Also, I never knew that races had different colors to it until I came to China. I only knew black and white, and then I came to China and I realized they call the Asians yellow, and I was wow. So my skin color was the first thing that gave me away. And they're like, you are African. Where in Africa are you from? And then I used the opportunity to tell them this is where I am from. I'm from West Africa, Nigeria. And they say, oh, we know Nigeria. Are you Igbo? Are you Yoruba? Are you Hausa? And I say to them, no, I'm not any of those. I am from the South. I am Ibibio. And they say, no, we have never had any ethnic group like that. And I use that opportunity to educate them about other ethnic groups in my country, in where I come from, actually. So it meant a lot because I had to leave behind familiar cultural norms, family, communities, and stepping into this kind of society that made me visibly different from other people. And then I would not categorize my experiences as being negative because I've had pretty positive responses from the Chinese on environment or the locals where I work on, where I school. Um, I, I say that the Chinese are quite inquisitive in nature, just like Dr. Steng said about the Japanese. They are really inquisitive. So I wouldn't say they are racist or extreme racist per se, because I walk on the road, or maybe when I go to teach the kids, what they do is they just come, they touch your hair, and they ask you, "Is this your natural hair?" And I say, "Yes, this is my natural hair." And they say, "Why is it not as straight?
So well.
Why is it not straight and silky
She's
as
speaking
ours?"
so well.
And I tell them why. So they are quite inquisitive. So I wouldn't say they are extremely racist towards me. So they just want to know, because most of them have not had the opportunity to travel out and experience other people's culture. So when other people come in here, they want to learn as much as they can. And they do that in extreme ways that is not familiar to us. And I think that is where we mix it all together and say it is they are being racist. But the Chinese are a little bit more subtle than being racist. That is my own experience, actually. So as I navigated this new environment, I faced several moments of curiosity, misunderstandings, and sometimes subtle racial experiences. These subtle racial experiences, negative ones, actually happens in the classroom settings, because in my classroom, in my MBA class alone, we have over 22 countries, different countries, and it's a little bit overwhelming to connect and to interact with people from 22 different countries, different cultures, different ethnicities. So when we are being segmented into groups for case studies and also, classworks, we find it a little bit difficult that other people who are not African like us kind of segregate and are being racist towards us. they view us in a particular negative light and stereotypic negative stereotypic light that doesn't sit well with me. And every time I have the opportunity to, stand up to challenge every negative narrative, especially towards African, I always do that with my head up high. So I think that's the only say negative receipts reality that I have experienced here in China in the classroom. But for the locals here in China, they are quite friendly, inquisitive, and good to go. Um, my racial reality in China. So in China, the perception of race and ethnicity can be quite different from everything I came from back home, I experienced back home. The food, their culture. By the way, China is ethnically and predominantly Han. That's the largest dynasty and the first dynasty that originated or kind of formed the China or the Chinese people. So they are rooted in this cultural perspective that is called Confucianism. And in Confucianism, they have several aspects to it that hold them together, and that is what they call their own religion. Because in China, they don't practice religion over here, and that's one of the culture shocks I had when I came here, because I'm coming from a religious background where I'm being taught about God, Christianity, and all of that. And I come here and you are not allowed to practice Christianity or religion openly. You cannot do that except you get a license from the government, and they are very strict with that. So I'm coming from that background and coming to this background where I can't go to church. Even if I can go to church, there's just one church in the city and it's far away, and you're being controlled and on how to worship. And so it was a little bit more overwhelming for me. So coming from that, um my experiences both were welcoming and exclusionary attitudes based on racial and cultural differences. um I witnessed moments of stereotypes about African and how it shaped interactions, especially in the classrooms, not from the Chinese locals per se. Because every time I take the train, they always want to ask me questions. What do you do? How do you come about this? In fact, one of the kids I teach in class asked me, "You're black?" I said, "Yes." "Is your blood black?" I said, "No, my blood is red as your blood is red." And she asked me, "Why?" At that point, I didn't know what to say because I barely knew how to. These children are Montessori kids and kindergarten, so they barely even understand. They're just curious. So most of the experiences, the negative experiences I have, are not with the locals. Actually, from other foreigners, maybe Americans and also Europeans. But for the Chinese, they are quite welcoming and friendly. Um, at the same time, I found strength in connecting with other international students and educating those around me about the richness and diversity of African cultures. So, like I said earlier, every time I have the opportunity to talk about where I come from, to educate people about my ethnicity and Africa as a whole, I do that with my head up high and challenge every stereotypes and negative narrative, and telling them there is more to Africa than what you see. And for a country like Nigeria, where I come from, we have lots of negative PR, especially with corruption and fraud. We also have a lot of good things that we are good at in terms of the tech, in terms of medicals, human capacity, mineral resources. So every time I have the opportunity, I'm always talking about the good side of Africa and where I come from, and changing the narrative, to um to the good side. So my reflections on staying African abroad: maintaining my identity while adapting to life in China has been a very delicate balance. And of course, you have to balance the two, because there's got to be a balance. Otherwise, in a country like China, where they are very strict, their government is very strict on everything, you've got to maintain your balance without losing who you are and your Africanness. Let me put it that way. So, I have to continually reflect on what it means to stay true to my roots while embracing new perspective. Most of the time, how I stay true to my root, my hair, I don't wear lots of wigs. So I keep my hair, just like Kutenge said. I was so excited when I heard her say that, because every time I keep my hair, it's one of the things, apart from my skin color, my hair is one of the things that makes people recognize where I am from. So I keep my hair natural. I don't have a lot of my African print because I didn't bring it, and I regret doing that because I'm not representing Africa well in that aspect. But I have two, and I wear that every time we have cultural days, festivals where we have to represent our culture. I also try to, as much as possible, to teach them my own language. I didn't know that people appreciate our language until I came here. When I tell them I'm from Nigeria, they say, "Oh, do you know how to speak Pidgin?" I said, "Of course, that's like our second language." And they say, "Please, can you teach me?" And I take the time to teach them, because I am learning your language. You as well could, try to learn mine as well, so we can exist and cohabit together. So I teach them my language as well. So that's creating a balance, not just speaking English, learning Chinese. You get to learn mine. If there's anything good you want to learn from my culture or from my ethnicity, I'm willing, always willing. So that's how I create a balance. And I keep touch from home, get to hear the news, because here you really cannot do a lot without with the internet, because it is being watched. So I call my parents, I talk to them, and whenever I call my parents, I'm not using English, we use our dialect. So that's how to create a balance, so you don't lose your Africanness. So being an African abroad has been about resilience, of course, navigating between two worlds without losing sight of who I am. For the educational aspect, my perspective on the foreign educational system in China, studying in China has been very revealing to me, because the system is very rigorous, but not as rigorous as at home. I want to take maybe just 2 minutes to talk about this, because from back home, we don't have lots of conducive environment to learn. But over here, we have conducive environment, facilities, comprehensive curriculums, and a whole lot of that makes it easier for you to study. No wonder when Africans or Nigerians per se, because I'm Nigerian, when they leave the country, they perform much better when they leave. So when I came here to China, I experienced so much ease. It was very seamless for me to study here. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about Asia or this country. Also, the mode of teaching here is not, permit me to say, is not as comprehensive as back home. And that I'm very proud, because when I came here and I listened to the professors speak, the mode of their teaching, I said to myself, if I'm paying millions and thousands of dollars to learn this, I don't know. I think I'd rather invest it back home, because they taught us better. They taught us resilience. They taught us how to think. Over here, you're using computers. Everything is being provided for you. You're not stressed. It's good, but it doesn't bring out the capacity in you, the ability to think. While it is good, it also has its bad side. So most of the time, almost all the African students that I have met here, or the people I am in class together, they tell me that study back home is much better than the education system, study here. Here they provide you everything and you don't have to do so much. But there you don't have a lot of things to study with, to do things with. So you're going to think outside the box. And that's the background from where I came from, and which is why I excelled so much when I came here, because I'm a scholarship student, and for you to get the scholarship the next year, you have to perform at the peak. If you don't, you don't get the scholarship. And for two consecutive times, I have been given scholarship, because not because of the mode of their teaching or their education, but because of how I came from back home. So I'm very proud of that. That's one of the proud moments of being an African. I'm very proud. Our professors back home are great. They teach us well, and I am very proud to be an African in this aspect. So many programs, even at the postgraduate levels here, demand proficiency in Mandarin and acclimatization in Chinese teaching styles, which can be very daunting. First semester, we had to go through a rigorous Chinese. These people, they integrate Chinese into everything. They try to integrate their cultures to us. So one of the reasons why a lot of people don't stay to the end, because you have to take Chinese proficiency exams. But over there in my country, if you know English, you're good to go. You don't have to learn a native language, So it's kind of, I don't know. I think maybe that's where they are racist to me. Yeah. So I often found out that integration into academic communities was hindered by cultural and language barriers. Um, like I said, in my class, we have over 22 countries. Iran, talk about almost all the continent apart from Antarctica. So it's difficult because most of the students, they don't know how to speak English, and you have to try as much as possible to interact with them, right? So it's difficult. That's one of the foreign educational system barriers that the foreign educational system has presented us as international students or Africans living abroad. So the rapid pace and competitive atmosphere have taught me resilience, but also has highlighted gaps where international students, especially Africans, can feel overlooked, like I've already explained. In conclusion, my journey as an African student in China is a testament to adaptability, because there's no way you travel thousands of miles away from Africa to Asia and not be able to adapt. You have to adapt, you have to endure. So it has taught me adaptability, endurance, and pride in my origin. So by confronting these challenges and championing my own culture every opportunity I have, I hope to encourage others, whether African or non-African, to share their own story, own their story, challenge stereotypes, just like I have, stand up, challenge, change the narrative for us African, because it's very, very important. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm really, really grateful for the privilege. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing your experience from China. Definitely, we're going to be asking you a lot of questions, but all your thoughts. Now, I will invite Silas Emmanuel from Japan also to share his experience. We're really behind time, so I would encourage us Africans to share your thoughts concisely, because we'll be asking you more provoking questions, and hopefully you will share more afterwards. So Silas, please, let's have you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for having me here. I'm really grateful. It's good afternoon from my side. It's morning over there. I'm really missing out on what is really happening in Nigeria right now. I think that is the most catch for me. I'm really missing home. I want to really thank the organizers of this event, those that made this possible. I want to also thank the host. He's been a wonderful host, trying to make everything really go well. So I'm really, really honored to be here. I'm Silas Emmanuel. Like the host said, I am based in Japan. I think of myself as somebody that climbed through barriers and just see the headway, just go for the flow and make sure that you live out your full purpose. That is what I really believe. Those are my values. I also think and I believe that if you can really just think of anything at all, that you can achieve it. Doesn't really matter from where you start from. You just need to believe in whatever you want to do. So I want to really thank everyone that has spoken and those that are yet to speak, that what you are all saying here is something that is really happening and needs a voice, so that those that are not aware starts to become aware. And they know that in 2 to 3 years or maybe 5 years from now, we will not be talking of Africa as the victims anymore. We will be talking about liberating Africa. We'll be talking about participating in world events and really dominating the space, because that is what we are out here to do. So I want to really start with my own experience as a person here in Japan. I think what my sister just shared and the one before her, they are just realities, because when you go to a place where you are like you don't see at home, there is every tendency to be like one-footed. So that is how every organisms, entity, animals, these is how you're just built to function. So it's an unfamiliar terrain. So all you need is, how can I really survive? So we want to go from just surviving to dominating. And that is why we are Africans. We are Africans, we are not the victims. They are the victims, because anybody that does that to you already puts the mark on themselves. So I want you to understand that this is the reality. You are there to dominate. You are not there to become a victim. So for me in person, I think going into the class for the first day was like different for me. I will start with the good part of it. Like in Africa, there is nothing like this. We really want to develop it. We are just focused on the divide and rule strategy, which really messed things up for us. You see things like collectiveness in community, like fostering growth in education. We are neglecting all these. We are not supposed to blame this on people anymore. These are the things that we should do for ourselves. Like it was a reality for me. Going into the class the first day, seeing the systems in place, like how they've organized the whole system. You have like a true train network that is interconnected within the city. You see a classroom of teachers well dedicated and willing to give in their best, show up on time and do their best. This is what they're up to doing. So they've created a system where you being in that system, you can't survive because of the mentality that has already been fostering there when you were back home. You can't really survive in the system, like it's going to choke you up. So for me in person, that was the first thing I embraced. Like it seems like my life was all messed up, like in Nigeria. Like upstairs, there is this mentality we have. Like you put something by 7 o'clock, the person is telling himself 7 ain't nobody there. Make I give her like 7:30 or 8 before I go show. So you are like telling yourself this. And here, if you are right on time, if it's 7 o'clock and you're 7 o'clock, you are late. You need to be there like 5 minutes before time or 10 minutes before time before you can say that you are early. So if we're looking at it from the shock aspect of it, it shouldn't just be like we are the victims. I see myself as somebody that's gone out to just obtain training. I am a school teacher. I work with a company too. So I really understand what it really means. Going into the class, seeing people like they want to interact with you, but the barrier there is just there. You don't know what to do with it. So sometimes I hear stories like this, even though I have not been a victim like in person, but I really resonate with it because I know what it feels like, people judging you based on something. If it's not your skin, it's from where you're from or something like that. So a friend of mine wanted to talk to me the other day and he was like, he wanted to express himself, but he said that he didn't want to express himself to hurt me, like from where I'm from. And I'm like, why are you saying something like that? You just express yourself. Please do whatever way you feel like to do, you express yourself. Your thoughts are like what defines you. Whatever comes out from your mouth is what you already designed to believe. So I don't have anything to do with that. So just express yourself. Don't make it a race thing. So you make people aware of what they are trying to do, things that are going to be harmful. Like, they should be aware of it too. And I want to also say that we Africans should not just go about like pointing it to people's faces like, this race thing, it's you against me. No, it's not me against you. I think we are gone like past all those times. We should be focused on cohabiting together. We should be focused on embracing communities. Those living abroad can really say this. Like, if you meet like a Black person from like, you don't even know where that guy is from, but you just see that his skin color is in tune with yours. You just feel this connectivity immediately. Like, you are not even there to ask him, are you from Nigeria? Are you from Ghana? Where are you from? No. You just, this is my brother. I just believe this is my person. Maybe later on you find out that he's from Sierra Leone or Rwanda. But today, this moment, what you're just focused on is, let me foster this relationship first. This is my community. This is my family here. So we Africans should be able to embrace those changes, because these are the changes that is going to help us. Policies upon policies are rolling out right now, trying to bring Africa closer to the West or developing parts of the world. That's to tell you that you are more valuable than you think. So you shouldn't just be there thinking you are the victim, they need you more than you think you need them. All these policies they are arranging and they are putting on ground is just to welcome you, harness your talents, harness your skills. Why not focus on building back home, arranging these things so that those people that are supposed to go elsewhere for maybe a training like we are here for can stay back home and repair what is needed to be repaired. This is the mentality of Pan-Africanism. We need to go right to the roots and solve this problem. Wherever we find ourselves, it's an opportunity to be a part of the community, learn the skills that are developed in that community, and try to invest them back home. If you're not exporting anything good, you should export these good values that you're learning from institutions like these that you're working overseas, and try to make them work in your home country.
Okay, thank you very, very much for sharing that insight. Like I said, we will provoke you with questions. Hopefully we can get more out of you.
Thank you.
So permit me to have Yenime to also share her thought with us. She's from the US. Please go on, please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good to have you all here, and I feel very privileged and opportune to be given this opportunity to share my experience here in the United States of America. Actually, have been in the US for barely over a year and 6 months. Back home in Nigeria, I was a lecturer, lecturing in the university, and I had a need to, navigate a bit and experience life outside the country, and also earn a better living, because educational system, the educational system, like you say, is a reflection of what a society is, and they cannot be a reform of any educational system if the educational system does not meet perfections of certain things. So certain things were actually not going well, and as a young person, I felt I needed to navigate, experience life outside the shores of Nigeria, Africa, and make a living too. So I got a job from Nigeria. I work here in the US as a rehabilitation counselor. I remember very well, starting from sharing my experience, the first day I landed in the United States of America. I'll be careful not to use the exact word I used. When I landed, it was in Tampa, and I got out of the airport and I was taking a drive into the city. So not to use the word I used, I was like, God forgive our leaders. Because when I entered the United States, the infrastructures I saw, things I saw starting from the airport, trust me, the first thing that came to my mind was,
our leaders keep traveling in and outside the country, and they don't bring anything to or any form of development back home. This is so unfair. This is not right, and all that. So I entered with that kind of mindset. And then secondly, another thing I noticed, if you're in the United States, I don't know if there's any other person that has noticed that you look up into the sky and the sky is so clear and blue. I don't know why God made it that way. It's different from where it came from. Nigeria, our cloud is a bit brown and dark, cloudy, but here it's just blue and clear. It's like God really loved this country, So that's the first experience I had coming here into the United States. When we talk about race is actually attributed to physical appearance, group of people, or people sharing a common ancestor. And trust me, no matter how you identify yourself, years to come or centuries to come, race will continue to be a topic of debate. It's something that cannot be overemphasized wherever you find yourself. Okay, good enough. I'm in the US. I heard the other speakers in China and Japan, especially China, when they were talking about relating race to the color of the skin. It's different here in the United States because, of course, like some of us already know, the US have Black Americans. So skin color is not really something that at first instance, brings racism to you because we have a lot of Black people. So it's not really a barrier thing, not really a barrier thing to look at. And then I want to also look at the educational system coming into that. History or education is a very good tool in empowering the people. It can be powerful. It can be very dangerous too in empowering the people. And history is one of those subjects that can be used as a very good tool. In Nigeria, what I notice is that, yes, I'm not running away from that fact. Racism started as a reason of colonization, back in the years. I'm not leaving that fact behind. But with the history being taught, of course, we need to know our roots. We need to know our origin, but we don't need to colonize our mind about that. Yes, racism is still going on, or the issue of race disparity is still going on in different countries of the world, but we don't need to, colonize our mind or cloud our mind over the negative part of the colonization. Wherever it's being talked about, you hear countries like the United States of America, you hear it's a very great country. United States of America is a very great country, very great nation. That's what everybody talks about. And then you have this mindset, thinking the United States is just made up of the whites, of the Americans. And you forget that as a great nation, it's made up of different group of people coming together to make the nation great. This includes Nigerians too, and Africans too, who come together to make this nation a great nation. So when we have these ideas in mind, when you're planning to move out of Africa or Nigeria, where I come from, and move into any other country, maybe for study or maybe for career purpose, or to make a living, a better form of living, you should also have that in mind. Because one thing you should be looking at, if you empower yourself back in the country, you should be looking, I think one of the speakers said something about that. If you're empowered, you should be looking at what am I going out there to offer? What am I going out there to do? What am I going out there to contribute? What am I going out there to receive? Even also in this aspect of history teaching, it's also a great tool in America too, because the history of America is being taught in their schools, and the Blacks cannot be left out of their history. And I see it among them sometimes that the white people begin to feel like the Blacks put a lot of blame on them concerning what happened to them. That is because of the mindset history has maybe put so much negativity on us. So it looks like, the Black people are putting so much blame on them, and all that. You see the Black people that come out of Africa, maybe you're coming from Africa to start a life here in America or in the US, and then if you find yourself maybe in a state like South Carolina, and you find yourself maybe working in a farm, you come in, you get a job to work in the farm. Why don't you look at it like, oh, I came here to make a living because this is a better opportunity for me. After all, look back at our country, you might not even find a farm to farm. So if you find yourself coming out here and you find yourself doing a particular kind of job, why not look at it like, oh, I'm here to make a living, instead of looking at it like it is because, or okay, instead of trying to put the blame of your situation, let me call it, of what you're doing, you know, on the white, on colonialism, you know, on racism. You understand? Something also happened the other time. I was trying to share with our president. I said, after I came into the US, I have a daughter who is who was to go into second grade, and I needed to find a school for her. So when I went for the school district, I was like, oh, she did like the first 2 terms of her second grade in Nigeria, and she needs to continue here in the US. So I was thinking initially, because I heard people coming, maybe they were going to say, okay, you just came in, trying to compare the educational system now. Okay, you're coming in from Nigeria and then coming into the US, which is, you know, the way the United States is already rated, you know. So she needs to maybe step down back to the grade 2 to be able to continue in her education. But when I went to the school district, the registrar said we have to place her in second grade. Sorry, I was thinking she was going to step down to first grade. So we are going to place her in second grade, which is the class she's supposed to continue if she was back in Nigeria. And I'm like, oh, she didn't finish her she didn't finish her first grade. Sorry, I'm contradicting that. She didn't finish her first grade. So they were like, she made a comment that surprised me. She was like, most Nigerians, she didn't just say, sorry for those that are watching from other places that are not Nigerians. She said, most Nigerians that come here, that's for the elementary school, they seem to perform better than our kids. And I was like, wow, you know, as an educationist, that struck on me. And I'm like, wow, you know, because, and then school continued. I now noticed that where she's coming from, Nigeria, the educational system seems to be more vigorous than what is obtainable here. If people will go to school and come back, they really don't have anything like homework, assignment, you know, to do compared to if you school in Nigeria, you know, what our children are exposed to, or even what the educational system is exposed to. The educational system exposes us to a lot of things. We do a lot of assignments, we do a lot of research, not to talk about those that are in the academics. We do a lot of research, we do a lot of reading, you know, like one of Justine also said that here they do a lot of using a lot of improvisation, though, which makes learning easier anyway, a lot of improvisation. But so you notice that these things that we face back in our country, when we bring ourselves into other nations like the US, we seem to be doing better because we've been exposed to more vigorous environments and things to do. So it looks like a walkover for us. So I would say that life here in the United States for me, when it comes to race, has not really been a difficult challenge. I spoke about the skin color, then the language. When I was coming in, one of the things I was skeptical about was, oh, you know, Americans, the slang, the way they talk. I'm like, hope I'll be able to, when I first got my interview anyway, which was on Zoom, I was able to communicate well with the person that interviewed me. So I was like, oh, that went easy, you know. And then coming in here, I was thinking the communication will be a barrier. The way they speak, I might not be able to understand them, you know. It was on them, like we said, I might not be able to understand them and all that. But I noticed that when I came in here, the same way the white people, the same way we find it a bit challenging to understand the way they speak because of their accent, is the same way they find it challenging to understand the way we speak too. Because when I came in, I noticed, first of all, because I came to work in the administrative office, I'll go in and I'm talking, and they'll tell me, take it easy. So I even learned it from them. They were like, can you take that slowly again? You know, and oh, me too, I got that up. So when I happen to go somewhere and I'm speaking to an English person and you know that the way they're speaking, I can't understand them. Myself, I'll also say that too. Can you take that slowly? Can you take that a bit, you know? So it doesn't mean that they speak better than us. It's the same English we speak. It doesn't mean they speak better than us. when it comes to race, it's still the same. Their how do I say it? Their accent is different from our own accent. So the same way we find it difficult to understand when they speak is the same way they find it challenging too to understand how we speak too. So another thing I want to talk about is that Pan-Africanism as general. I believe as Pan-Africanism, what we talk about is not just about coming out, you know, to put yourself aside that you're an African or trying to segregate yourself to prove that you're an African. I think it has a lot to bring what you have as an African. What do you have as an African? Bring it to wherever you are. Introduce African as a brand to other people too. That doesn't mean you come into the wider society, the world is becoming globalized. You have to reject what is obtainable or what the Western world is offering. No, bring what you have as African. What do you have as an African? What can you present as an African? Bring it in. You understand? And make other people in this other country know what Africa is all about. You as a person too, you also have something to learn about, to learn from here too, of course, and develop yourself. Food wasn't a challenge for me, like I said, because preparing and knowing, you know, sometimes when you're traveling to a new place, you have to do a little research about where you're going to. So I knew Nigeria is not a state in America. Nigeria is a different continent completely. So I prepared myself, like I said, and came with a lot of African food. So even got to know where the African stores is. So food has not been a challenge to me. I eat what I want to eat. You come to my house, you won't even know the difference between me being in Nigeria or not being in Nigeria. Everything is, I eat what I want, just the way I want it. The other time they were asking my little daughter, what's your best food? She said soup and spaghetti. And they were like, what kind of soup? She said black soup. Funny enough, that black soup is Afang soup that she's referring to. My daughter hears you're cooking soup or whatever. Mommy, I want, you know, because that is what we are having right there at home. So sometimes coming in not prepared gets you frustrated because you come in and you meet food you're not used to eating and you're forced to eat it, you're forced to starve, and then you begin to get into depression, you know. And then also with the weather, I came into also a city like New York. Oh, back from home, before I even planned to come here, I had got myself some jackets and the rest. Because I knew as a person, I'm not exposed to cold. Some people back home like cold and all that, but I don't like cold as a person. So I prepared because I didn't want to get sick. Imagine I came in, exposed myself. What will happen the first few months I'm here, or the first 1 month I'm here? I'll fall sick. And falling sick will look like, oh, I've left Nigeria, things are not going well, you know, the way it's supposed to go, and then all that. So I think as Africans and as Nigerians, there are positive aspects of racism, yes. Like where I work, I've also noticed that they give priority treatment to the people that are white here. Of course, if I want to look at it with the colonial mentality, it will get me angry. But back at home, you work in an office that is an Igbo person as the HOD. The Igbo person gives priority to Igbo people. You work in an office with a Yoruba person as the head, he gives priority to a Yoruba person. So we don't have to, when you look at it in that aspect, that's when you know you cannot fit into the society and feel funny about it. And then our people too from Africa have also made bad names. People that come in, let me attribute something to Africa and Nigeria. You know, we are brought up with lots of ethics and culture. Ethics, when you see a Nigerian from a proper home, you understand a good upbringing. These are ethics and societal values that we attach as Nigerians. We have a lot of societal values. So we have a lot of people that have come in here, have neglected those societal values, let me put it that way, and have gotten into trouble, you know, painting a bad name about the African continent and the Nigerian people or the African people or the black skin, you know. Even sometimes you meet even the fellow Black Americans here. Their lifestyle and the rest is quite different from the whites. So they give this bad image about the black skin and the rest. But that notwithstanding, you know who you are, you know what you have, you know what you stand for. So when you come in with your shoulder high up, you know, especially if you're someone that is educated, one, if you're looking for how to leave the country, which I'll encourage anyone, it's not just running for the greener pastures. What do you have to offer? Because that is what will keep you standing. What do you have to offer? If you have nothing to offer, you come in here and you disappear because you won't be known. You hear all over the media, Nigerians are doing very well in their career, educationally, they're doing very well. So if you come in with nothing to offer, you disappear into thin air. But when you come in with, and then you know what you have to offer, you're ready to contribute into the society. Because even if it's in a family setting, nobody wants anybody that is not contributing anything. So if you have what to contribute to the society, you become valuable to them. Even in your
Hello? We can't hear you.
Yeah. Looks like a network problem.
Yeah.
From our own end. Oh, what's wonderful, missing this that part.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. You're back.
So sorry, something happened and I went completely off. And I can't hear you right now. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, sure, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I was saying, you come into whatever country you find yourself and you have something to contribute, you become valuable to the society, and then you find yourself welcoming, you know, and comfortable too. So I think it's also important because I believe what Pan-African stands for is bring African brand into the other society, you know. Don't just come there with a funny mentality, you know. Don't just come there rejecting what the Western society has to offer. But whatever you have, you know, in Africa, you come in here, you know, bring it, incorporate Africa into the other world, into the other society. So that way, you also benefit from the wider society, the more developed society, and then you also contribute to what it also has. Because as African, you cannot, when we talk about race, there's nothing, you cannot avoid this in any debate. The way I'm speaking, if you listen to me, you know, this is not just a Nigerian, this is an Akwa Ibom girl, because anyhow you want to do it, there's an accent that comes and, you know, distinguish us from one another, and we can do nothing about that. There's nothing we can do about that. I was born in Nigeria. I was raised in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. I schooled in Nigeria, you know. So there was nothing I can do. I'm proudly Nigerian, you know. I'm proud of where I come from, you know. So I think if we have that, you know, at the back of our mind, it will be easier to navigate in the countries that we find ourselves. Yes, racism happens. I also mentioned something the other time. I said, there's something I noticed in the US when I came here. I thought the US was mainly English speaking. And then, like I said, I now notice that Spanish is widely acceptable here. So you notice that when school journals are sent out, not journals, when newspapers are sent out from schools, they write it in English and it's also written in Spanish. That's another, how do I put it? That's another race that has come to America, has also come and dominated America without allowing their language to go away. So America has also adopted Spanish as a language. So no matter what you do in the classroom, you notice because there are Spanish children in there, widely populated. You also have to send newspapers back home in Spanish too. And then you walk into the malls. You walk you walk into the mall. There's this other tribe. Not the Spanish people. There's this other tribe that have a boundary with the America. I'm trying to get right now. You walk into
Mexico.
Anywhere.
Mexico.
Mexicans, thank you, President. Yes. You walk into anywhere, the Mexicans, oh no, they're not speaking English. They speak their language, however you want it. If they are the one attending to you, sorry if you don't understand if you don't understand their accent, sorry for you. They don't have any apology for it. They go on speaking like that. In short, you find yourself tuning your tongue to want to speak like a Mexican person so they can understand you. Where is that done? But that is a race that have come into the United States and have refused to let go of their language. So it should be the same thing with us, because forget that we have the negative part of Nigerians or Africans that have things that happen here, but we also have a majority of good things that happen here. So let's learn to imbibe those good things, and forever we know, celebrate our Black excellence, something we should be proud of in the medical, teaching. Black are doing excellently well. Black people are powerful, they're apologetic, we are not fearful, we are too rooted already. We are too rooted and we can't be blown away by the wind. So no matter what you face, because you're rooted, racism can't blow you away. Just know who you are, and that will help you survive. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, Silas. And thank you, Yenime, for all your experiences and your contributions. So we will take a few questions. Definitely, we want to know your resilience. We want to know your support system. Is it that everything is okay? You don't feel like coming back to meet us? We want to know all that. So we will get questions across board, and then we will share that. Let me check my chat to see if we have questions. Okay, there are no questions. So anybody would please indicate if you want to ask a question quickly before I would try to do that. Any question? So let me ask a question, general question. How do you find support? How do you support yourself? Psychosocial support within the community. How do you find that kind of support you're looking for? There are times you feel like packing and coming back to Nigeria. How do you find support? The resilience, the tenacity to stay and keep pushing on with your goals over there. I'm sure there's a question. We have Emmanuel. Your hand is up. Please go on with the question. And then after that, Victor Akpan. And then we can have responses.
Okay, hi. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
My name is Emmanuel Okpong. I'm a software engineer. Okay, my question is, as someone who aspires to have a global impact and listen to the aspect of, language barrier, to all the panelists, which languages would they recommend someone which they feel if they must have some level of global age, they should begin to learn those languages? Which of them are top priority across all their countries and the experience they have? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Victor? Yes, Victor, please unmute and ask your question.
Unmute, yes.
Okay, Victor is not there. Ido, are you there?
You have to unmute.
Please unmute, hello. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Thank you for that session by my sister, Yenime. I hope she can hear me. Hello?
Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you.
just go on with your question.
Okay. Please, you made a statement about what should I say? Is racism in your office, like someone, the whites being preferred or given certain privileges than others, and you compared that to what we have in Nigeria back home, like an Igbo person manning a particular office and giving preferences and privileges to other Igbo persons and all that kind of stuff. I think it should be a matter of concern to me, because even the very United States of America is built on the very foundation of freedom. And I can remember that that was the main thing that the likes of Martin Luther King and Mary Parks and the rest of them fought for, to bring United States of America to what it is, that other countries can be opened up and they can come in, especially the Black, so they can help contribute and not be segregated or, ostracized in one way or the other where they are working. So I think that is an issue of concern. Even back home in Nigeria, remember when Buhari had his tenure, we had so many people from the northern parts of this country dominating, the key areas of institutions of the nation, and it caused a big uproar as a then. And now we have Tinubu coming in and is doing the same thing, and we still have an uproar. So I think it's something that it does not sit right with humanity. And if you want to line it up with human rights, especially as a Nigerian, in chapter 4 of the Constitution spells out that no one should be segregated as a reason of where he comes from. As a lawyer, I'm speaking to that, and I want to hear you out. If you allow that to thrive in that office, that means you may not have certain things that you ought to have because of who you are. And this is what we are talking about, is the main subject of this course. So what's your take on that, given the universality of human rights? What's your take on that, please?
All right, thank you, Victor. I would suggest we keep our questions short. Let me have Victor, please, your question, then we can have responses quickly. Victor, are you there? Please unmute if you still want to ask questions. Okay, so Victor seems not to be there. So the first question is about language. I would like to ask Utenyi, what would be the most preferred language that somebody aspiring to leave Nigeria should focus to learn? What would be that? And by the way, do you speak Japanese language? So you can add to that as well. Yeah. All right, go on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you to my fellow speakers. You spoke wonderfully well. Considering the language, well, I know English is a universal language that is spoken almost in all the countries of the world. Although some other countries are non-English speaking countries, but they are making efforts to speak English, to learn the English language, because it is a language of is a language of commerce, is a language of for business. Then it depends on the country. Like in Japan, let me take Japan as an example. The high school students and other school, sorry, yeah, in Japan, they are allowed to take to learn Chinese, they learn Korean language, and they also learn, I think, a little bit of French. So they are open to learning those other languages. Then for, let's say, I know that Spanish is also widely spoken in some other countries, and French too is widely spoken. So I don't, I can't, it's my opinion that I think any language could be learned. And wherever you find yourself, you shouldn't close yourself to learning the language. Like I am here in Japan, although my Japanese level is just the basic level, I can't really speak. I'm still trying to grapple with learning the language. It's a bit difficult, just like Josephine said, that she is required, or it's an expectation that she learns the Chinese language. She learns Chinese. Here, I know I am not schooling, I am teaching. So it's not really a requirement for me, but I just have to learn it in order to be able to communicate with the locals here and maybe with some colleagues at work, and to also navigate the environment, because it really gets difficult, especially walking into a mall and then you need something, but you can't really read it and you don't know where to find it. And telling the cashier or whoever is at the counter becomes a problem. Or you walk into an office, a city hall, and you want to do something. There are some city halls that you have English speakers, Japanese who could speak English, but sometimes you don't get to find them. So it really becomes challenging for for me. So I would say that any language could be learned. Like I can speak a little bit of Spanish, I can speak a little bit of French because I attended a French language school back in Nigeria for a period of 3 months. And I hope to even get better on those languages. And with for my Japanese, I am trying. Learning the characters, the katakana. You have katakana, you have hiragana, and then some kanji. So you have a combination of those three characters in their language. And learning these three different characters, it's not a walk in the park. You have to sit down and they're so confusing. So if you can read some of those characters, at least you could read the signboards, you could read some other things, but it's just quite difficult. And I'm trying. So I wouldn't really settle to say, okay, this is the language that should be learned or not learned. I think every language is very important, dependent on where you would find yourself. But I know that English is a global language that other countries of the world would want to learn and then maybe use it for the purpose of business. So please, if you have an opportunity to learn any language, you learn. It is part of being African too. It doesn't mean that being African, we shouldn't learn other languages. We should, so that we could communicate. Of course, language is a means of communication. And once we are able to communicate, we would be able to communicate our African values in another language to someone who does not understand English. So that's just my take on it. I'm not limited to one language, learning one language or a particular language, superseding another language. So I believe that all should be learned, or some should be learned, dependent on where you are.
All right, thank you very much. So let me just give a recap. The language you learn must align with your dreams and vision, possibly in Nigeria if you are expecting clients who are Spanish speakers or India, learn Indian language. If you plan to go to English-speaking countries, then perfect. Otherwise, connect with your vision, your dream, your desire, what you plan to do, and key into it and learn the language. But sometimes things can be spontaneous. Then you can always learn the language. So our next question goes to Yenemi on racism. How do you intend to handle racism in
Please,
office?
can I make a comment? I was able to unmute just a moment ago.
Yes, just hold on. Let me have her respond to this, then we can take your question. Just a minute, please. So how do you intend to manage racism in your office based on the question we have? Please go ahead. Quickly,
Okay,
please keep it concise as
yeah.
much as possible.
Okay, thank you. The question he asked concerning situations like that, where priority treatment is given in some situations or circumstances. Trust me, like he said, because he's a lawyer, you know, that is not acceptable globally, but it's still existing. It's still existing in some of the organizations. At least I'm exposed to one. So I know I've had a situation where I had a conversation, not specifically because of this issue, but I just had a conversation with a lawyer, and she brought up issues like, if you experience things like this in your organization, where you're being treated differently because you're Black, you know, you can bring it up, you know, and something can be done about the organization also. But it has not become like I've not received a direct, should I put a direct it has not happened directly to me, but it's something that I have noticed that is going on. And even when you say the war has become a globalized war, trust me, in the globalized war, we also have modern day slavery, and it's still going on. Modern day slavery is still going on in countries like the United States too. So it might be said that, oh, slavery, you know, has been put at bed, but it's still going on. So we still experience that. So if you experience things like that, there's a human rights, you can take that up with any organization you're working with, and you know, they'll be brought to book. You can even make money out of it. So that is what is existing, depending on the person involved, if the person is ready to take it up.
All right, thank you very much for that. For me, as a diaspora, I would advise, you know why you're there. Racism is embedded in institutions, just like we have ethnicity embedded in our institution in Nigeria. Navigate, keep focus, and make sure your goals are achieved. Yes, Victor, please, let's have your question quickly. Keep it concise.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed the sessions and the comments, perspectives from China, Japan, and America. I wanted to chip in a few things from the standpoint of organization. I listened carefully to the Chinese, to the lady who is residing in China. You notice that the Chinese knew the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, and that must have shocked you. But that is not accidental. The Chinese organize. They know the top ethnic groups, and they align their politics and their policies with those power centers in Nigeria. You will be shocked that Chinese are now studying Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo on their own, funded by their governments. So it is incumbent on Africans to do the same thing. We cannot send an ambassador from Nigeria to China who does not understand the geopolitics of the Asian countries. We've got to prepare them. And this is where the Pan-African Institute, that I'm so inspired to be part of it, should do. We can learn the Mandarin in Nigeria, and that should be possible. I studied in Florence, in Italy, and I can tell you that I speak Italian better than the locals, more educated than the locals. I came away from Italy about 27 years ago, but I lived there for nearly 40 years, taught in the university, did everything, and I participated fully in the activities of the country where I found myself. By participating, I mean you study the language of the locals and know it better than they do. Because the institutions, most of those people speak their dialects. But if you get involved in the university system, you will be speaking excellent Italian, excellent Japanese, excellent Mandarin from the top quality universities where you find yourself. And you'll be amazed at what the locals will do. They will think that you come from the moon. So by opening up, we should also organize ourselves and learn these things from the standpoint of being a Nigerian, but also organize what stops our own universities from running courses in Chinese, in Japanese, in Italian, and get the resource persons to do that. There are Nigerians who can also teach these languages back in our universities. Let's use them and get prepared, because the world that we are facing does not wait for anyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take one more question, and then there's one more on the chat, and then we will have the closing remarks. So let me call let me read the question here, and then we will have Margaret. So this question goes to Josephine. I think Hero is asking you that when you had the Chinese asking you if your blood was black, and then why isn't your hair straight, and so on. So the question is, what do you think motivated this question? You can read that on the chat and then provide response if you can quickly. What do you think is the motive? Was it motivated by racism, or was it curiosity, or what is it all about generally? Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you to Hero for that question. So based on your experiences with Chinese people asking questions such as, is your blood black, or why isn't your hair straight? What do you think motivates these remarks? Do you interpret them as innocent curiosity or as a result of limited exposure and information about people from other countries? Okay, so he gave an instance where in the Philippines, where he's from, and he thinks that such a question is somewhat disrespectful. Okay, Hero. So initially when I came into China, when I got these questions, I thought they were disrespectful, just like you did, or just like you do. But having interacted with them over time, I realized that it was just innocent curiosity. Why am I saying so? Because when someone walks up to me and touches my hair, because they're really fond of the hair we Africans have, and especially if it's a child, and I explain to the child, you maybe if it's a teenager or a little bit younger, I use terms in biology, why our genes, and and all of that, and explain, and they're just quite amazed. I'm like, wow. And then the next thing they tell me is, it's so beautiful, I love it, we can weave our hair like the way you weave yours, so it is actually beautiful and we love it. And then that response alone tells me that it's just sheer innocence and curiosity. And also, it's not applicable to Africans too. I see the way they do that to the Europeans, especially the part of the European part that have coily hair. They do that to their people too. So they touch their hair. Your hair is so coily. Ours is just straight. What do you use? What shampoo do you use? And then the European students also tell them, okay, this is why it is like this. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't regard it as disrespectful. No, it's not disrespectful to me. It's just curiosity. Like I said before, Chinese people are quite inquisitive. And that's one thing I've learned about them, to be inquisitive. If you don't know something, just ask. It doesn't take so much from you. You ask to know. And if you don't know, you ask. So or as a result of limited exposure. majority of the locals here that I had to experience life with are not quite exposed to traveling to other countries. Back home in Nigeria, we have a system that even if you're not well traveled to other countries, you are well exposed. Maybe because of the resilience and how our country is. You learn one way or the other. You have to do things and think for yourself. But over here, the Chinese government, I don't know how to put this, but they kind of watch every step, every move. Everything is being watched here. So they just have so much they can do, especially if you can't travel out to learn other people's culture, to learn other people's way of life. So you're just here, and with the whole system where you're being watched, where you're being controlled on what to do, what not to do. So these people may not have the exposure like we do as Africans, even though we don't travel outside. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to talk about. So yeah, I think it's limited exposure, first of all, and also curiosity. So I wouldn't regard that as disrespectful. So it's just Chinese being Chinese and being inquisitive and wanting to know everything about other people's culture. So it's not just to me alone. They do that to even Europeans. So I think that cannot be termed disrespect, because I get to interact with them, and the response that comes afterwards tells me that it's not just them being disrespectful. They just want to know. They're just being inquisitive. So that's it from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So let's take our last question from Margaret. Please go on quickly. After this, we will take the closing remark and start closing up. Thank you. Margaret, are you there? Okay, her hand is down. So I suppose she has decided not to ask the question. So thank you, everyone, particularly our panelists, for your, I would say, quite insightful contributions, your experiences, and so on. We thank you sincerely for making time. Some of you should be in bed at this point. Some of you should be attending to your work, and some of you should be taking your lunch or dinner. Thank you sincerely for making time. Permit me to call the secretary of the commission. If the secretary is not there, I will provide the remarks.
Hello.
Yes. Yes,
I'm sorry.
please.
I was something happened. I just want to contribute. My name is Margaret Tudor.
All right.
I'm a child development expert. Let me put it that way. I want to also put a little about language development here. That particularly the tribe I come from, I don't know others, I'm an Ibibio. We are somehow guilty not teaching our children our language. Language development works between 1 to 5 years of age. And that is when we should teach our own children their mother tongue. It's very important to develop the mother tongue in our children, because when they learn their own language, knowing the nitty-gritty of it, they will think right. It helps to develop the thinking process, being able to think well in your language before you proceed to other languages. Though English is, should I call the commercial language, and whatever language you want to call it, we should also teach our children their mother tongue so that they can think right. And we also most times overlook one very important language, that is the sign language. We need to incorporate this in our schools and in the upbringing of our children. We should encourage the schools to start teaching. That's the special needs aspect. in child rights, we talk about discrimination. I'm a child rights expert also. You cannot stop discriminating when the deaf and the dumb cannot communicate with you, and you do not know the future. If you can take something like quinine and become deaf, anything can make you blind. You can give birth to a child that cannot hear or cannot talk. So I think we should, apart from the vocal language, we should also think of the special needs language like the Braille, the sign language, and the rest of it in the upbringing of our children. So that's what I wanted to add. And age compliancy is not every age that children learn very well. So as Dr. Victor Okpan said, it's very necessary to know other languages, to inculcate them in our university curricula and the rest of it. But we need also to teach the mother language. It's very important. If you are able to know your language very well and other sign languages, it will be easier to learn other languages. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution on language. Very, very strategic. Learning language, it will really help. I can say to you that I had the opportunity to work for a big tech company because they are looking for somebody who speaks Hausa language, and I was in another country, and that gave me a big job. So language is very important. Thank you for that contribution. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a small disruption here. So once more, thank you. President, would you like to maybe make a comment about our next lineup of programs before we have the photograph, and then we have the closing as well? So maybe we can have the photograph, and then the president will make a remark, and then we close. President, please go ahead.
That's fine. Yeah, let's have a photograph session. Then I will make my closing remarks. Or you want me to make my closing remarks now?
Let's have our camera open.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much, dear friends and dear colleagues. Thank you very much, the great panelists who have joined us. Let me especially recognize the director of the Commission on African Society, Business, Arts, and Culture, joining us all the way from Zimbabwe. Lady Prudence, thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Hiro, for joining from the Philippines. Thank you very much, Mama Pan-Africa, Madam Margaret Udo is a great lady. I'd like to thank you very much. Our ambassador to the diaspora, Professor Victor Okpan, thank you very much. Barrister Yang, thank you very much for joining. And Helen Adamo, Helen, thank you very much. Yes, you said you like to participate in this webinar today. I'd like to thank Silas. Silas, thank you very much for your submissions. Very inspiring. I'd like to thank Dr. Itoro. Dr. Itoro, thank you very much for joining. I'd like to thank Yenime. Yenime, thank you very much for the sacrifice. It's just only for for today. It's not going to be all the time. I know that you should be sleeping by now. And your beloved husband who has joined us today, not only to support you, but to learn what we do in the Institute. I'd like to thank Dr. Tenge. Dr. Tenge is a great educationist, had been a principal of a secondary school here in Nigeria and now teaching in Japan. I'd like to thank my beloved daughter, Josephine, for that excellent, presentation today. I'd like to thank the moderator, the director of research and development of our institute for anchoring today's event. The vice president of the institute has traveled, is now somewhere in Europe, and will be returning to the US but next tomorrow. The executive secretary of the institute is also from Malawi, is already for work and couldn't join, and pleaded that she should be excused. Now, I'd like to say that today's event, talking about staying African abroad, and great, panelists sharing their experiences, have been quite educative, heartwarming, because they were not sharing only the negative parts. They also shared the positive dimensions of staying abroad. And that was very, very heartwarming. I can tell you that your resolve to share the positive side of your country is actually what Pan-Africanism is all about. It's not about just lamenting about the past. We have issues of colonization, and a lot of the things we suffer in African societies now is on account of the negative aspects of colonialism. We just cannot discount that. We just cannot discount that. That we do not have the infrastructures that you are seeing abroad is because that is an effect, a negative effect of colonialism. And of course, we just cannot stop talking about that. But we must not dwell. We must not die talking about these negative aspects. We just have to move ahead. Our leaders must learn to navigate that, and live past that negative, part, and so that we can do something positive for ourselves. Okay, so I am impressed when you talk about the positive aspects of your culture, of your country. Please keep doing that, and do that without any apology. You have what it takes, to showcase to the world. I like what Nyenime said, that look, if you have something to offer, nobody can toy with you, because you have something to offer to other persons. Like Josephine said, these people are curious. They just want to know more about your culture. Seize that moment. Educate people about Africa. Educate people about Africa. The great values that we have in Africa. The Ubuntu value. The love for our culture. Showcase that wherever you find yourself. Okay? We know that we have, the issue of racism. People want to look down on you. Give nobody the joy of looking down on you. Do not give anybody any joy to look down on you. And I love what Dr. Otenge did. Somebody, just because of the color of the skin, and you were sitting close to the person, and then the person just left. And you decided to put your bag, your beautiful handbag, on where she left. That was a great show of being proud of your culture and not giving anybody a chance to look down on you because you are from Africa. No. As a matter of fact, you have what it takes to, to showcase to the world. Let me give you one instance. I'm sure you know that when you hear that the cradle of humanity, when you hear statements like that, the cradle of humanity, in other words, human beings began in Africa. That is a big thing that you must take to anywhere. People who now find themselves, whether they are yellow or they are white, they originally, the cradle of humankind is from Africa. Human beings started from Africa. And so, if you have that, then why should you not be proud of who you are as an African? Okay? You have that. And again, too, let me tell you that nobody can point accusing finger at you that you colonized them. There's nobody, there's no country. Africa never colonized any other. Africa never exploited other countries of their resources, of their minerals. We have our forefathers, our foremothers had left a great legacy for us Africans. So we have to be proud of that. Let nobody look down on you. When you talk about racism, of course, you know that this appears to be a human thing. It's not just because you're African. Racism exists virtually everywhere, even in America, among Americans, even in Mexico, among the Mexicans, even in Asia, among the Asians, even in Australia, among the Australians. Internally, it is a human thing. And so let us not carry that and continue to bemoan racism, against Africans or whatever. Because like, Nyenime said, once you have what it takes, as a matter of fact, they will be looking for you. Particularly in American society, they are interested in the things, your capacity, what you can offer. Once they see what you can offer, they're not interested whether your skin is black or whatever color. They're interested in what you can offer. And so Africans, my message is, look, continue to improve yourself. Don't look down on who you are. Let me tell you that even though we have a very rough educational systems in most African societies, we can still navigate that. Nobody can block who you choose to be in this life. And so get above that and let us continue to celebrate who we are. And language, let me tell you, language is more than even a means of communication. It's about your culture. So love to talk about your language. Like Ma Africa said, look, let us be proud of our own culture, our language. It's an identity marker, okay? That you see English here, we blow English now, here and again. It's actually a product of colonization. In Africa, we have major languages, okay? Like Swahili, like Yoruba, like Hausa, like Ibibio, like whatever language, we have them. And so for instance, I'm personally, before I die, I would like to learn at least one or two other African countries, the major languages that we have, okay? And then we can also factor this in, even in the way we write. So let's be proud of our culture and give nobody the chance of looking down on you, because you should not, and you have no reason to look down on yourself. Today's webinar has been very exciting. I'm proud that I was a part of this webinar. And thank you very much, moderator, for who you are, for what you have done today. Thank you very much. And I think that by October, we will gather again for another webinar. Please, if you are not a member of the Institute, why not join us? Go to our website and register to participate, you know, in this kind of, you know, talk together and see how we can move the Institute forward and indeed Africa forward. We will be having our biennial conference in the Republic of Benin next year. So why not prepare? Why not join us and prepare to be with us? If you cannot come physically, there will be sessions virtually that you can join. Once again, thank you very much for presenting yourself today and your stories today. We are very inspired. I hope that you join us next time. Thank you, and thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. Enjoy your night, enjoy your morning, and enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye, everyone.
Everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, bye.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.